Blame shifting. The always exaggeration. The narcissist will struggle without the twin helpers of exaggeration and embellishment in order to make mediocre achievements seem impressive and decent accomplishments appear spectacular. They are, of course, a form of manipulation. They are good for all occasions. A healthy and liberal sprinkling of exaggeration makes the narcissist far more appealing and alluring, and thus more readily able to assert control over you and draw fuel from you. Embellishing what the narcissist has done ensures that the narcissist looks far better than you, and therefore is better able to assert control by remaining the superior individual. Like salt and pepper at meal times, exaggeration and embellishment are never far from our kind. We make everything bigger, better, bolder, brighter, and more brilliant. We love to magnify and multiply in order to convey just how great we are. Yet, generous souls that our kind are, it wouldn't be fair if we didn't allow you an opportunity to be seen, to exaggerate and embellish, for you to make a mountain out of the molehill, and to blow things out of proportion. Of course, when we provide this opportunity to you, it has none of the self-aggrandizing effects of our behaviour for ourselves, but is used as an opportunity to make you seem hysterical, unreliable, and, of course, somebody who's seeking to blame the blame on us unfairly, and that blame must be shifted. Blame is often attributable to us because of the things that we do, because of the way that we need to assert control over you, the way that we've hit you, the way that we've insulted you, the way that we've cheated on you, the way that we didn't do something that we said we would do, the way that we did something that we ought not to have done. All of those behaviours, of course, amount to the possibility that blame could be attributed to us. But if you attribute blame to us, you threaten our control, and that is not acceptable. The notion of control is that we have to assert control over you, and you mustn't threaten it. So we have to be able to assert it over you in the first place, and you must willingly accept that. And if you ever do anything which then threatens our control, we then have to reject that threat by some form of manipulation, benign or malign, that is utilised against you. Blame shifting is the ability to ensure that we are not held accountable, and therefore if we are not held accountable, you can't threaten our control. Therefore questioning us means we won't give you answers. Demanding that we do something means that we say no. Asking us where we've been results in a word salad. Your attempt to pin accountability on us, to make us apologise, to make us accept our behaviours, always results in an abrogation of that accountability to reject your perceived threat to our control. As part of this necessity of blame shifting, we utilise a particular manipulation known as the always exaggeration. What we do is we exaggerate your behaviour by suggesting that you're doing something and that you always do it. And therefore, there is a double whammy at work here. First of all, we make a false accusation towards you. We accuse you of doing something that you're not actually doing, and invariably is projection, because it's something that we do, but the lesser or mid-range narcissist won't see that they do that because their narcissism blinds them to it, and the greater and ultra will realise that they do this, but don't care and find it entirely acceptable to be the hypocrite, knowingly and willingly, and confirm that they don't do it even when they do. So, first of all, we reject the threat to control by the blame shifting. We also, in so doing, make a false accusation towards you and accuse you of doing something that you haven't done. Thirdly, this invariably is projection on our part. And then fourthly, what we do is to cap it all off by exaggerating, by suggesting that this is something that you habitually, frequently, constantly engage in with the use of the word always. There's no sense of proportion. So, for instance, we don't say, every now and again you fail to listen to me. It is, You never listen to me. You are always talking over me. In this video, we concentrate on the use of always. Never will be dealt with on a separate time. And therefore, I provide you with 20 examples of the use of the always exaggeration, so you can see common ways we accuse you of doing something that you have not, and then we follow it up with another punch, a metaphorical one, by suggesting that you do this all of the time. And the effect of this, of course, is for you to forget about the challenge that you are making to us and concentrate on your own defense. You are pushed backwards so that you are left having to defend yourself against the false accusation and the exaggerated nature of this false accusation. As I say, the always exaggeration. Here are 20 examples. 1. You are always hypersensitive. 2. You always overthink what has happened. 3. You always read too much into what I say. 4. You are always paranoid. 5. You always see things which are not there. 6. You always make things up. 7. You always have to be melodramatic, don't you? 8. You always make out that you are iller than you actually are. 9. You always overreact. 10. You always make a fuss over nothing. 11. You always lose your sense of perspective. 12. You always take things too far at times. 13. You always go over the top with things. 14. You always press the panic button too soon. 15. You always make something out of nothing. 16. You always respond in a disproportionate manner. 17. You always get overexcited about things. 18. You always lose your sense of proportion. 19. You always put 2 and 2 together, making 8. 20. You always jump to conclusions. I'm sure that you've heard many of those directed at you by your particular narcissist. When you hear these comments being made by us, you should be aware that these are being used unconsciously by lesser and mid-range narcissists and consciously by the greater and ultra to deflect by what you're saying by basically putting the spotlight on you by accusing you of the behaviours. The use of such a phrase is actually a stock tell that you've challenged our control in some way, and therefore we need to respond by moving the blame onto you, making a false accusation against you, and exaggerate it. We want to provoke you. We want to make the conversation about your behaviour rather than our behaviour. We want to provoke you by frustrating you. We want you to deny you the opportunity to deny your agenda and thus deny you the opportunity to threaten our control. We want to increase your emotional response through this outrageous behaviour from your perspective so that you increase the fuel provision. Furthermore, you lose sight of your point as you are derailed by conducting the discussion in a logical fashion as you are pushed by us into the territory of emotion and the lurking emotional thinking that gets hold of your thought process because you are, of course, continuing to interact with the narcissist. Once you stray into the realms of emotional thinking, a combination of the corrupting effect that it operates with and our ability to exploit this means we assert control by denying blame being apportioned to us, shifting it onto you, and heightening the impact as a consequence of the use of the always exaggeration. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.